I stood on the front lawn, holding a blue gift bag for my sister's newborn. Through the ground floor nursery window, I watched my husband kiss her forehead. The evening air was completely still. The window was cracked open to let in the autumn breeze. "We deserve this," my husband whispered to my sister, his hand resting gently on the baby's back. "Her money is just compensation for how cold she is. She'll never leave. She's too practical." I didn't drop the gift bag. I didn't scream. Quiet people notice everything. For 10 years, I financed the life he bragged about. I worked 80-hour weeks managing global software rollouts. I lived in airport terminals, typing on a laptop while my vision blurred from absolute exhaustion. During that exact same window, I endured 3 grueling cycles of IVF treatments. I went to every single injection and ultrasound appointment completely alone. I remember sitting on the edge of a cheap hotel bed in Chicago. I think it was a Tuesday, or maybe a Wednesday. I was pressing a plastic bag of ice against my bruised stomach to numb the injection site. Weston was always stuck in a crucial meeting when the fertility clinic called. He never once held my hand after hormone injections. Now, standing outside that window, I watched him humming lullabies to another woman's baby. I paid exactly $85,000 in cash from my separate account to clear his executive MBA tuition debt. $85,000. While I was bleeding in clinic bathrooms, Weston was expensing weekend golf trips and buying custom-tailored suits. Then there was Delene. My younger sister played the vulnerable sibling who just needed a hand. Over 18 months, I transferred a total of $60,000 directly to her bank account. I thought I was covering her emergency medical bills and rent. I thought I was being the reliable older sister. I was actually funding her move into a luxury downtown loft. The first clue was the perfume. I had spent 3 months waiting for a specific bottle of high-end French perfume for my anniversary. Weston told me customs lost the shipment. 6 months later, that exact bottle was sitting on Delene's bathroom sink. I brought it up to my mother. We were sitting at her kitchen table. My mother didn't even look up from her coffee. "You're imagining things, Adeline," she said dismissively. "You're just jealous because she has a child and you don't. Family comes first. You work too much anyway. You owe your sister this support." If you've ever given absolutely everything to someone who was secretly taking you apart piece by piece, subscribe. Because I'm about to show you exactly how to take your power back. My vision tunneled as I stood on the lawn. I couldn't feel my hands. 10 years of marriage. The agonizing grief of infertility. The financial sacrifice. All of it was just a funding mechanism for the family he was secretly building with my own flesh and blood. The grief lasted exactly 10 seconds. Then, the executioner took over. Tears are a liability. I needed undeniable forensics. I walked quietly through the front door of the house. I set the gift bag on the hallway table. I walked into the kitchen. Weston and Delene were still in the nursery down the hall. Weston's phone was sitting unlocked on the marble kitchen island. I didn't need to hack into encrypted servers. I didn't need complicated software. I just picked up his phone. I opened his email. I found a thread between Weston, Delene, and my mother. My mother is technologically illiterate. She had accidentally CC'd my old, dormant college email address on a PDF attachment. I opened the document. It was a luxury loft lease. Weston had used my name and my social security number to guarantee the property for my sister. He forged my digital signature. They didn't just betray me. They turned the thing that hurt me most into their financial advantage. I forwarded the email thread to my corporate litigator. I set the phone exactly where I found it. I walked down the hall. I stopped outside the nursery door. I reached out, and I silently turned the external deadbolt key. I locked them inside the room together. I walked out the front door. I got into my car. I drove away. Before I show you the exact moment that destroyed his entire empire, make sure you hit subscribe. You do not want to miss how this trap snaps shut. For 21 days, I smiled through dinner every night. I slept in the same bed as him. I listened to him practice his corporate speeches. The psychological torture was absolute. Deline came over for Sunday brunch. She hugged me in the kitchen. She squeezed me tight. "You're the best sister in the world," she said, smiling right into my eyes. She was wearing the maternity dress my husband bought for her. I smiled back. I poured her coffee. 3 days later, Weston came home early from the office. He dropped his leather briefcase by the door. He walked into the kitchen and kissed the back of my neck. "I was thinking," he said softly, "we should try IVF again. I want a family with you, Adeline." I stared straight ahead at the kitchen tile. I knew, at that exact moment, he had spent his lunch hour picking out crib sheets with Deline. He thought I was safe. "She's too practical," he had said. "She'll sign whatever I put in front of her." He accidentally gave me the rope. I was just tying the knot. The corporate promotion banquet was held on a Friday night at a luxury downtown hotel. It was packed with senior executive board members, high net worth clients, and my family. My mother sat at the VIP table, wearing a new pearl necklace I had paid for. I wore a tailored cream dress. Before the dinner started, I walked to the back of the ballroom. I stepped into the AV technician's booth. I handed the young technician a $500 bill and a silver flash drive. "My husband wants to surprise the board with these exact slides." I smiled warmly. "Play them the second he walks up to the podium." The technician nodded and pocketed the cash. I walked back to my seat. I sipped my ice water. Weston's name was called. The ballroom erupted in applause. He walked up to the mahogany podium. He adjusted his silk tie. He looked out at the crowd with the confident, arrogant smirk of a man who thought he had won everything. He leaned into the microphone. "Corporate integrity starts at home," he began. I pulled my phone out under the table to signal the AV booth. My screen was completely black. 2% battery. My pulse stopped. The screen buffered. No signal. Weston kept talking. The crowd laughed at his opening joke. I felt a cold sweat break out on my neck. I pressed the power button hard. The screen flickered. The signal bar jumped to 1 bar. I sent the text message. "Now." The massive presentation screen behind Weston went completely black. Weston laughed nervously, looking over his shoulder. "Technical difficulties," he joked to the board of directors. Then, the audio kicked in. It was the crystal-clear recording from the nursery baby monitor. "We deserve this." Weston's recorded voice echoed through the massive ballroom speakers. "Her money is just compensation for how cold she is. She'll never leave. She's too practical." The entire ballroom went completely, violently silent. The screen flashed bright white. It displayed the forged lease agreement with my stolen signature. Next slide. The bank transfer receipts for the $60,000. Next slide. The email from my mother coordinating the cover-up. Weston's face drained of color instantly, his throat muscles visibly constricted. He gripped the edges of the podium so hard his knuckles turned stark white. He looked down at me. I sat perfectly still. I didn't blink. I took a slow sip of my ice water. The senior managing partner stood up from the head table. The chair scraped loudly against the floor. "Turn that off," the partner barked. He pointed directly at Weston. "Security, remove him from this property immediately." Weston tried to speak. He tried to reach for the microphone. His hands were shaking so violently he knocked over his crystal water glass. It shattered on the stage. Security guards flanked him and physically dragged him away from the podium. My mother sat frozen at the table, her face buried in her hands. Weston was terminated for cause the next morning. 0 severance. 2 days later, he was arrested for identity theft, wire fraud, and forgery. Because the lease was guaranteed with my stolen credentials, my corporate litigator legally voided the contract. Deline and my mother were evicted from the luxury loft in 48 hours. 2 weeks later, I am standing in my new, uncompromised apartment. It is completely quiet. I walk over to my dresser. I open the bottom drawer. Sitting in the corner is a small, unused plastic hospital bracelet from my last IVF cycle. I look at it for 3 seconds. Then, I drop it into the trash can. I spent 10 years trying to build a family. He spent 10 years trying to build an exit plan. Only one of us succeeded. If you found this satisfying, subscribe. There are a lot of predators out there, and they always underestimate the people paying their bills.